The truth.
Alright, welcome to Nature Spaces. The last video we talked about the different types of trees in the neighborhood. Basically I walked around for an hour, then I did a tree highlight of different stuff I saw. So again, thanks so much for everyone tuning in. You might hear a little rain in the background. Yeah, you might hear a little rain in the background. Just think of the rain as a little ASMR action going on for your senses. It is a rainy day here, but for this video, coming off of the preview of all the different trees and bushes and flowers and everything of the sort I have showed you in my previous videos. Now we're going to talk a little bit more about the trees themselves. So as I said, I have showed you all the trees and forests and bushes and everything green I could possibly find around me for about an hour. Now I'm going to talk about the 6 most common trees in the world. My list would be longer, but I ran out of room on my paper because of some of the descriptions of some of these trees were really long. So out of my list of the of my choice of the top most common trees in the world, my first tree that I'm going to be talking about is the red alder. The red alder is really unique that it is unique in that it can grow after a place has lit on fire. So you know, in California there is wildfires and stuff. So let's say in California there's a place in the forest that has burnt down. The red alder tree can be known to grow immediately afterwards, after the fire has settled down. Just think of it when you get a cut on your arm. The calcium in your blood helps form pellets, or it helps clump up the blood around your injury, so you won't bleed out as much compared to if you didn't have that ability to stop the power of bleeding out. Mostly or usually when you get a cut and it starts bleeding, like if it's a serious cut, most people, especially people in the medical field, are going to try their best to slow down the bleeding or to stop it completely. They will use Vaseline, something of the sort, to help clump up the blood. Off of that, the Vaseline helps the wound heal. So in a sense, the red alder, in regards to the forest fire and stuff, the red alder helps in that sense of it helps life come back into play from the place that just burnt down. So it has like this heavenly effect on an area, which is really nice. And like I said, it can grow really fast after a place has went through a traumatic experience such as a forest fire. So those are the types of trees or bushes you're going to expect to find immediately after a place has burnt down, such as a forest and stuff. All right, my second option out of my list as the most common trees in the world is the green ash tree. Now the green ash tree is unique, just like the red alder, because it has been known to grow in harsh environments. The green ash tree can grow in either really hot places like the desert or really cold places like Antarctica. Let me know in the comment section if you have seen trees. If anyone is from Antarctica, let me know if you've seen any green ash trees around your surroundings. Now, the downside of the green ash tree is that it is susceptible to pest infestation, meaning that it won't live long if it gets infested by bugs. I remember when I was younger, when I decided that I wanted to plant a tree in my backyard, in my parents' backyard. I remember I planted the seed. I came back a week later. I saw a branch from the tree, or from the seed. And that's good, that's growth, that's life. But I saw a pest on each one of those, or on the branches. So that's a little example how new plants can be really susceptible to getting infested with pests, because the pests feed on the plant. Have you heard of the caterpillar, how the caterpillar eats the leaf? Something like that. All right, my next or my third option out of my top 6 most common trees in the world is the white ash. The white ash is similar to the green ash, and with all of its characteristics that I've listed previously, except the leaves on the white ash are white. So simple option there. Simple tree. My fourth tree is the American beech. And I'll have text on the screen so you can look these trees up yourself. And I'll see if I could get some pictures with this video, so you could get a better representation of what I'm talking about. Now, with this type of tree, the American beech, it likes shade. Contrary to the previous trees I have listed where they thrive in the sun, this tree thrives in the shade. So that's really unique to this tree. It's a very clumpy tree, like a bush, similar to a bush shape. And its leaves can tend to be very hard and strong. So the American beech is really something special. My fifth option on the list is American basswood, whatever you want to call it. I know different cultures have different ways they pronounce things, so yeah. With every tree I list, it is unique in their own way, or they are unique in their own way. With the American basswood, it grows in certain conditions. Specifically, it has to have a high pH level and some nitrogen to grow successfully. And that is really unique to the American basswood. My last option on the list out of my top 6 most common trees you can find in the world is the paper birch. The paper birch is not really something special compared to the first 2 trees I listed, which was the red alder and the green ash. But the paper birch, just like any other tree, aside from the white ash, aside from the American beech that doesn't need the sun, the paper birch needs excessive sun to grow successfully. And it needs a lot of nutrients to survive. Alright, these were my top 6 trees you can find, or most commonly find, in the world around you. Again, my list will be longer, but I ran out of space on my paper. We talked about the red alder, and how it can grow in places that went through a traumatic experience or disaster. We talked about the green ash, how it can be how it can grow in places of harsh environments, and how it can be successful or susceptible to infestation. We talked about the white ash, which is the sister of the green ash. We talked about the American beech, which is a tree that loves the shade. We talked about the American basswood, that it has to grow in certain conditions, such as high pH levels, a certain amount of nitrogen in the atmosphere. And we talked about the paper birch, where it needs excess sunlight and nutrients. All right, this has been Nature Spaces. Thank you for tuning in. For my top 6 most common trees you can find readily in this world. And trust me, I know there's more trees out there, but I ran out of space on my paper, and we're just going to go with that. And the reason why I decided to come up with 6 options instead of 5 is because everyone does 5 options. Might as well change it up and say top 6. So again, this is Nature Spaces. Subscribe, like for another vehicle. Tune in next time. Thank you.